r/AskReddit, what was loved by poor people until rich people ruined it? Comic cons used to be pretty affordable, and you could chat with celebrities for a while. Now they are a huge extravaganza, with multiple levels of admission and VIP access and VIP seating. Pictures and autographs with bigger celebrities can cost a shitload, and you wait in multiple lines and are rushed through it. When I went pre-COVID, I normally just see/buy art. Those folks are usually not super busy and will often sign stuff for free, unless they are big dudes like Frank Miller. Every little cool mountain town in the American West. Farmers markets used to be cheap when I was younger, now it's a hipster's paradise and expensive as heck. Living near the coast used to be a poor people thing a long time ago. Podcasts. The number of amazing podcasts that have been ripped off by celebrities who are so out of touch with the average person's daily experiences is disgusting. They are so starved for attention they have to take over any discussion that's happening. Sewing and sewing supplies. The new machines are plastic garbage, and since it's become a hobby rather than for the average person, the patterns after the 70s use way too much fabric. Theater. Used to be the entertainment for the masses, and now it's ridiculously expensive and inaccessible to most people. I'm sure someone already mentioned this, but camping. It used to cost close to nothing to reserve a campsite. Some are still cheap, but now they've gone all bougie, and some sites charge you ridiculous fees to pitch a tent in the woods. Same with music festivals in the forests. People would go to get away from bullshit societal hierarchies and enjoys music and self-expression. Then they got all mainstream and it lost its original meaning. Think Burning Man. Vinyl collecting. It was a dead, cheap to get into industry as a hobby. Now come and get your $50 RSD special Jizz Splatter Chet Baker EP. Creating YouTube channels. Edit. Thanks for the awards, guys. The Champion brand. I remember Goodwill and Walmart selling their Champion stuff for cheap. Now it's designer and it costs so much more now. SMH. Edit. I'm so glad that other people know what I'm talking about. This was my first comment after making a Reddit for myself. Also, designer is a very strong word. It's more in trend and popular. It's not as big as Michael Kors and Steve Madden, but it's difficult to find a Champion sweater for less than $50. $100 plus when it used to be $10. Minus 20. All types of what was traditionally poor people food, pork belly, oxtails, etc. All the things that used to be cheap because they were considered to be the trash parts. Now that people realize how delicious they can be, it's driven the price up. Thrift stores. Mexican food, especially simple stuff like tacos and burritos. It used to be the cheap option, especially where I live, as there's a huge Hispanic population and lots of great cheap Mexican takeout places. Then all of a sudden tacos became trendy, and now places with $5 plus tacos exist, and everything went up in price pretty quickly. Avocados have become so popular that the locals can no longer afford them. https://asparagus-magazine.com/the story of avocado, deforestation, irrigation, pesticides, cancer, farmer, health, Mexico, organic. -3B3922568550E. Chicken wings, used to be the cheapest part of the bird. Trucks, $80,000 for a truck is nuts. Hot springs, used to be for everyone, and often viewed as dirty or undesirable by the upper class. Now people are buying up land featuring hot springs and making them expensive resorts. Montessori schools. They were designed to improve education of children who otherwise couldn't afford a good one, and now they are these exclusive private schools that only the middle class and above can afford. The toys and resources that were designed with the program as things that were affordable and of enough quality and usability to be worth it for poorer families are now sold at prices that only those who are well off would consider purchasing them. Affordable housing. Second-hand shopping. There's nothing worse than going into a completely harvested up shop and not being able to find anything in your size/of good quality because hipsters came and raided the place and sold everything at a 150% mark, up on their fucking depot account. Football was working man's game. My dad took me and my cousin to games every week, home and away. This is beyond many now. Pretty much anything retro video game related. For a while there, everyday people used to be able to find quality retro games, systems, and peripherals, Atari, NES, Genesis, SNES, TurboGrafx, ColecoVision etc., at flea markets and garage sales for just a few bucks. Now everything is snatched up by a handful of resellers and pumped up in price on eBay or at conventions. Thank goodness for emulation. Carhartt clothing. Shopping at Goodwill is on its way. Just the other day, a pack of rabid teenage girls who were clearly dropped off in a minivan, and were all wearing name brand stuff, tore my local Goodwill apart. It was astounding to watch. It was like a bunch of seagulls ransacking a picnic. It's hard to be mad at that kind of thing because they're just enjoying themselves. But man, if I don't miss grabbing 15 plus clothing items for under $10. At least Thursday is $1 tag day. Cheap foods, donuts, cupcakes, hamburgers, wings, that have all been given the foodie treatment and went from good cheap eats to gourmet pricing without a corresponding increase in quality. Affordable neighborhoods. Flank steak for carne asada, I think that's the cut anyway. Used to be dirt cheap, now it's a significant cost if you want to feed a group of people. There might be other reasons, though. Ripped denim jeans, they're casual, comfortable, and usually ripped in places caused by typical wear patterns. Then rich people had to make them weird, make them with clear plastic cut-outs, make them look how an alien would guess what ripped jeans are supposed to look like if you translated it into their language poorly and then had to describe them, and then charge $2,000 for the monstrosity. Storage shed auctions used to be really cheap until that stupid Storage Wars show came along. Now instead of buying cheap for some furniture, too many people are jacking up the prices thinking that there's some lost antiques worth thousands that they'd find in every unit. Walking/hiking, the best spots are now full of picture-happy influencers instead of nature lovers. Tybee Island, GA, aka the Redneck Riviera, used to be a place where one could get a house close to the beach for a relatively low price, until rich movie stars started buying there. Basically everything. If it's popular with the poor, rich people will eventually find a way to take it over so they can turn a tidy profit. Food that was cooked out of necessity, Chinese dumplings or pot stickers, for example, was a way to stretch out meat rations over an extended amount of time. A pound of meat can be quickly consumed by a family of 5, but if you wrap small portions of that meat with carrots, cabbage, and virtually any vegetable in dough and either boil it or fry it, you can satiate the entire household for a longer period of time. When rich people started making it, basically with the same ingredients, the tone of the dish changed. Before, it was consumed because hard decisions had to made to make it through a rough period. Now, at places like Fats, a set of 5 dumplings will set you back about $15 and served as an appetizer to $100 or more meal, giving the illusion that you're eating some ballin'-ass dumplings when in reality, it's just dumplings. Taking junky old cars and fixing them up as a hobby, rich people discovered they could buy up loads of potentially very worthwhile project cars for not much, restore them to a level of unobtainable quality and price which drove the price up. Now everyone knows what they have, iRoll.png, and holds out for the big buyers instead of the neighbor down the street. They turned a hobby into a billion-dollar industry and entertainment conglomerate so they can sell the cars to other rich people, since few people can afford a $200,000 restored Mustang or GTO or whatever it is. Brooklyn. Buying old-fashioned shit from thrift stores. The amount shops charge for damaged retro dresses these days is ridiculous. Back in the day, the rich people had cars, and the poor people had horses. These days, the poor people have cars and the rich people have horses. Vegan food. When it became a trend, the label vegan made it 50% more expensive. There was a huge scandal in the late 2000s when it was revealed most pizza shops didn't use real cheese, because plant-based was cheaper. Today vegan cheese 200% compared to normal cheese. Burning Man. Hawaii. I'm Polynesian and rich people have pretty much made Hawaii tier and I'm sick of it. Technically not poor people but all islanders. Edit. THX for 500 upvotes. Sorry to be cringe like this, but THX you humans. Champion. Fila. Adidas. Let's be real, Adidas has skyrocketed in their prices since a certain family thought poor lines were considered fashion now. Gaming. Hear me out. Somebody is making those fucking microtransactions profitable for those companies. I fucking hate this shit. The outdoors. So many places used to be difficult to get to, required some level of toughness and grit just to see. More and more people argue that they are entitled to see these places without that, and they're flooding in, paving roads, cramming parking lots full, and trampling some of the most pristine, delicate, untouched areas of the world. I'm not trying to gatekeep these places, but nature sure was. I think work boots and work clothing are being ruined. I want to buy work boots, but the good stuff is being discontinued for hipster style boots for people who go to Starbucks and never set foot in a warehouse/construction/trade environment. The same with clothing. Carhartt is a hipster brand. Dickies started doing this flex shit a while back, although they have sort of remained okay for now. Classic cars. The saying money doesn't buy you happiness was originally used by the poor towards the rich, asking them to share the wealth. Now it's used as a statement to shut down poor people who talk about wanting enough money to survive. BTW studies shows that money does buy happiness, but only if it's not too much. Around $100,000 a year is where they found the highest quality of life and emotional stability. Barbecue burnt ends. Oxtail soup. Now, expensive, costs over $25 in meat just to make a small pot. So I don't know if any of y'all in this sub live in rural communities, but big farming industries are killing small farmers. Impossible to own your own farm and make money at this point because big industry pushes you out. A decade or two ago you could sustain yourself with your own crops/animals, but now that's become so expensive you need a job on top of caring for your farm. Now with all this shit going down, rich people are buying up farmland, presumably to make money when the stock market crashes again. I just bought 40 acres a year ago, and in the past 3 months I've gotten 15 letters in the mail from various people trying to buy my land for way more than it's worth. Probably like ramen noodles or McDonald's. Fast food isn't even cheap anymore. Chicken and waffles. Got some at a place recently that bragged they used hand-breaded chicken strips, aka microwave nuggets. WTF, just put a piece of fried chicken on there and call it good. New York City. Mind you, I'm Puerto Rican, from New York, and the diversity that once thrived in that city was tenfold what it is today. Crazy to think, right? I mean, it's New York. My grandmother lived in Little Italy for over 55 years before she passed away in 2019. She lived in the same apartment on Mulberry St for that long, and everyone knew who she was. She lived there during the peak and eventual fall of the mafia. The streets on a Saturday night would be closed off. You could smell the food the entire block. People among people among people. I remember walking past as a child with my mom and just being in awe of how many people were just having dinner, drinking wine, and just genuinely happy. I would go up to my grandmother's and climb out onto the fire escape and just gaze at them, and I would never get bored. None of that exists anymore. Gentrification is a real bitch. Most of the Hispanic and black minority have moved to places like Queens and inner city Bronx or Brooklyn, you know, where the poor people belong. Truly sad. I'll never forget New York as I knew it. I'm pretty sure barbecue was created by poor people as a way to make bad cuts of meat slightly edible. Now those same cuts are as expensive as the rest because barbecue isn't the last option before starvation. I think rich people ruin a lot of things. For example, my auntie and cousin wanted to go for a camping trip with just tents and the kids. But my auntie didn't want to tell one daughter because her and her husband are well off. If they did, she would have wanted to come, and she would have brought out her giant camper, boat, and side by side, they would have took over the cooking with the food they wanted to eat. Don't get me wrong, it's totally a good gesture of them and a good thing to do, but my auntie just wanted it simple like the old days, and I respect her for that. Football. Converse. When my dad was a kid, it's what the poor kids wore. Now they are like $50 a pair for the same shit shoe. Alaskan king crab legs. When I was a kid, we could get a 1-pound box for $1.99. Jeans and plaid work shirts. Carnivals and amusement parks, $80 for 2 slices of pizza, 2 salads, and 2 drinks at Six Flags. Everything is not just expensive, it's obscenely way past expensive. Everything. My son and I filled the back seat up with game prizes and a couple huge stuffed animals last summer. But I easily spent over $200 on games, and we're actually pretty good at them. It was $900 plus day. Cool neighborhoods. The rich move in and eliminate all the diversity that made them cool bit by bit until it's all just rich people pretending to be cool. Target. I don't have a Walmart by me, so a while back, this was the cheapest store next to the dollar store for us. Now thanks to all the rich people on social media hyping it up, it's not as inexpensive as it used to be. I've even heard some rich moms complain that it's not as cheap as people said it was. Yeah, because you guys won't leave it alone. The internet. Now there's advertisement everywhere. Take YouTube for example. 2 ads. This video is sponsored by. More on them in a bit. Intro sponsor, bit of actual content ad, bit of content ad end. Thrift shopping. ThriftCon is a thing now. Coachella used to be, years ago, a kickback event with music lovers. It's now a shit show with over-the-top antics and an opportunity for rich folks to party. The music isn't the main reason they go. Austin, goddamn Texas. The Minimalist Lifestyle. You're a multi-millionaire yet for some reason you live in some squeaky clean, show home apartment with brushed metal everything, and own almost literally nothing. You call this liberating, when the reality is lots of people genuinely can't afford that apartment or indeed any contents for it. Eating snails. Thanks for watching. Comment suggestions for any future videos and make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any more good content. I upload daily videos from r/AskReddit, and if you liked the video, make sure to like the video.